Welcome. In this video, we are going to upload and set up our document and get a little familiar with the Scratch interface. So I have to create a new program, so I'm going to click on the folder button. And from here, I'm just going to click New Project. So this might be overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff. It's pretty easy to get a hold of. So right here, we have our sprite. If I click here, you switch to our background. And we can put different lines of code in each of these objects. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to upload our first custom sprite. So on the bottom right here, we're going to hover and we're going to go to upload. So I'm going to upload the image of my cat in a standing position or laying down position. Perfect. So I have this giant cat. So we got to do a few tweaks before we go to the next step. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to delete the existing sprite. So I'm going to click it and hit the trash button. And the next thing I'm going to do for the cat is I'm going to go to costumes. So right now I'm in code. I can put code in this one sprite, or I can change its costumes. So I'm going to click costumes. And from here, you notice I can't really click anything. It wants it to be a vector. So I'm going to convert it back to a vector. Perfect. So now I can move it around, but it's way too big for what I want to do. So I'm going to shrink this down. If it's the opposite of Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, if you don't hold Shift, it'll scale up proportionally. And you see that little X in the middle? That is the center point. I'm going to line that up with the center point of this work area. I'm actually going to make them a little bit bigger. So line that up, so now it's lined up. So I want to create a separate costume for this cat, a different animation, the one where it's jumping. I don't want to create another sprite because I want it to be the same sprite, just a different costume. So while I'm still in the cat's still highlighted, I'm going to hover over the bottom left where it says choose a costume. I'm going to upload a costume. For this one, I'm going to pick the image of my cat jumping in the air. Sweet. So we can see we have two costumes, and again, we're still inside of this one sprite. In fact, I'm going to call this player. But this cat jumping is too big, so convert to vector. And from here, I'm going to shrink him down. I'm going to put him right on the center point of our working area. So is it about the same size that I want it to be? Nope, I'm going to shrink him down a little bit more. I'm going to put him on top of that little crosshairs. It's about the same size. So this is, I'm going to say player standing, and this costume is going to be player jumping. Cool. All right, I'm going to go back to the code section. And again, I was still inside of this one single sprite. So now I'm going to upload a second sprite. That's going to be the object that it has to jump over. So I'm going to hover over here in our sprite area. I'm going to upload the beach ball. Now I have the beach ball. So again, I have the same problem. The beach ball is too big for what I want to do in this game. So while I have the beach ball highlighted, I'm going to go into its costumes. I'm going to call this object. In the work area, I'm going to convert it to a vector. And I'm going to shrink it down. So I'm going to shrink this down into the size of the sprite that I want it for the game. And then I'm going to center it on the crosshairs. It doesn't really matter where it is right here, right now. That's fine. All right, I'm going to go back to code. So now I have my two sprites. And remember, this sprite has two costumes in it. So I'm going to go to my backdrops, and I'm going to upload a custom backdrop. And that's going to be the image of the background. I'm going to call this background. I'm going to convert it to a vector again. And I'm going to make sure that it's big enough for my game. I'm going to go back to code. And I'm all done. Let me change the active costume for this guy. So I have my cat and I have my beach ball. Perfect. I have set up my sprites. Now I have to start working on the code.